In this JavaScript video, we're going to be talking about loops, but more specifically, the for loop. So a for loop is written like almost any other thing in JavaScript. You got your parentheses and you got your curly braces, but inside the parentheses, it's a little bit different. We actually have three parts that we're going to separate with semicolons. The first part is we're going to initialize some kind of variable. Most of the time in the internet, you're going to see I equal to 0. Most people are going to name their variable I. It's like the index of an array, because for loops are usually used to iterate through arrays and spit out their values. This could be anything though. It could be number, could be a person's age, whatever, but mostly it's going to be I. And we'll set it to 0 right away. And then the second part is we're going to compare it to something. So this is like our if statement, where we check to see if this condition is going to be true or false. And if this condition is true, then it's going to run the stuff between the curly braces. And then the last part, so we're not going to have an infinite loop, is we need to increment I somehow. And normally we just increment it by 1 because we want to get every single value in our array. So let's just find out what happens if we console log I. We get 0 through 9 because it starts at 0. It increments. So this is the basic setup. We're going to make a variable. We're going to check to see if this statement is true. If it's true, we're going to run our code. So the first time through, I is 0. It's going to log out 0. And then when it gets to the curly braces, it's going to come back up here to the third part. It's going to increment I by 1. So now I equals 1. Then it's going to come back here. Check to see if this is true. Is 1 less than 10? Yes. So then it's going to run this code. That's where we get our 1. And then it's going to increment I. And now it's 2. Then it's going to come back here. It's going to check and so on. So this code only gets ran once. These two right here keep getting ran over and over. Now just to compare it to a while loop. So let's make our while loop here. So we're going to check while I is less than 10. We're going to print out I. And so we don't have an infinite loop, we're going to increment I. So here's the same setup. Make a variable, check to see if something's true or false, check into C, increment, increment. And that's the basic setup of a for loop.